Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Savita from Maharaja Agrasen University, Baddi, Himachal Pradesh. Today we are going to discuss on module Entrepreneurship and its Evolution in India from the paper Entrepreneurship Development and Project Management. After completing this module, you shall be able to understand the evaluation of entrepreneurship in India, about the industrial policy 1948, the sources of entrepreneurship in India, and about 10 entrepreneurs who changed the face of corporate India. Now, I am going to explain the meaning of entrepreneurship and its evolution in India. The entrepreneurial growth in India is as old as Rig Veda, when metal handicrafts existed in the society. But manufacturing entrepreneurship didn't develop so much in India due to its weak transportation and communication system. At that time, the only means of transport was rivers, so that some kind of entrepreneurship was seen among the artisans in the cities which are established on the banks of rivers like Banaras, Gaya, Puri, Ahmedabad, etc. At that time, Indian industry was basically small scale and cottage industry, but it could not survive due to lack of transport facilities. The establishment of an aligned rule with the flex of many foreign influences and the competition of more highly developed form of European industry. Although entrepreneurial talent was in abundance in the Indian businessman, but India didn't offer much scope for its development. That is why many traders migrated to the country like Burma, Singapore and Kenya for the purpose of growth of trading. In that regime, lack of political party, network of custom barriers, taxation policies, existence of innumerable system of currency, low prestige of businessmen and lack of capital were the main reasons responsible for the failure of entrepreneurship. Evolution of entrepreneurship in India. In 17th century, Indian export trade of textile was on ascending trend in spite of discouraging environment for the entrepreneurship. Method of trading in India is changed by European investment. Grouping of the Indian traders into joint stock associations for the purpose of managing the supply of textile to the European country was very significant at that time. As a result, Indian textile goods were in great demand and the balance of trade was favorable. But the position of entrepreneur did not improve as the British government revised its custom rules to discourage the demand of Indian textile goods. The Indian entrepreneur could not expand their business as they had to depend upon the merchant class for capital and they retained the major share of profits. Up to 1850, the major commercial and economic development in India centered on the growth of the British private enterprise in banking, insurance, steamships, plantation and coal mines. Afterward, with a view to take advantage, Britishers think to exploit the natural resources of India. So, with this objective, they penetrate into the Indian territory. The railway was introduced in India in 1853. After 1850, manufacturing entrepreneurship came into existence. In 1854, C. Dawar established a cotton textile manufacturing unit in Bombay. In 4 years, there were 4 textile mills in India, and with a period of 25 years, its number has increased to 58. Ranchol Das, a Nagar Brahman, in 1861 established a textile manufacturing plant. Then, in Surat, first shipbuilding industry was established by East India Company. After that, lot of entrepreneurs entered into the new ventures like Jamshedpur, steelworks, jute mills, pharmaceutical industries were also started. Then, in Surat, the East India Company established its first shipbuilding industry. In the end of 19th century, there were 18 jute mills and 51 cotton mills. It is observed that lack of technical skill and insufficient capital resources make a hurdle in the growth of entrepreneurship. This problem was also discussed by the Planning Commission at that time of the first 5-year plan. In their words, as a proportion of the total population, the number of educated men and women in the country is very small, and there is dearth of trained personnel in the requisite quality in business and industry as well as in public administration. Unemployment among the educated classes is to some class a consequences of the excessive bias in the present educational system toward literacy. Education is to neglect of specialized technical and vocational training. To some extent, the difficulties experienced by educated young men in finding employment is traceable to certain reluctance on their part to take on occupations which involve hard manual work or work in somewhat uncongenial surroundings either in cities or in rural areas. The problem has many facets. Unemployment among highly qualified and trained personnel may to some extent be frictional or transactional in character, but it may also be due to a lack of adjustment between demand and supply of such specialized personnel. So, reason for Indian unemployment was lack of technical and vocational guidance and faulty education system. British government neglected practical and vocational aspect of literacy and academic training. Evolution of entrepreneurship in India. In 17th century, method of trading in India is changed by European investment. After 1850, manufacturing entrepreneurship came into existence. In 1905, the Swadeshi movement emphasized on indigenous goods formed an important facet of nationalism. Technical skill and insufficient capital resources made a hurdle in the growth of entrepreneurship in pre-independence. In the post-independence period, there has been considerable growth of entrepreneurship. Now, people with diverse backgrounds has joined the stream of entrepreneurship. Industrial Policy 1948. After independence, population increases but production was not increased as desired. Inflation also showed its giggling teeth. So, only measure to deal with inflationary tendencies and to ensure economic development, it is felt that industrial production should be increased. So, in order to strengthen industrialization, Industrial Policy 1948 was announced. The Government of India took some important measures in this industrial resolution, such as distribution of economic power between public and private sector, spreading entrepreneurship from the existing centers to other centers, etc. Government of India adopted several measures to develop basic infrastructure and heavy industries. Industries Act 1958, 5-year plannings, industrial policy, incentives and subsidies are the important measures. To strengthen the policy, in 1948, IFCI was also set up. Immediately after we got independent, Government of India has taken various steps to strengthen the Indian industry. So, in this context, Industrial Policy 1948 was announced. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru gave due importance to the small-scale industries. In the word of Nehru, the test of a country's advance in industrialization is heavy industry, not the small industries that may be put up. That doesn't mean that small industries should be ignored. They are highly important in themselves for production and employment. Entrepreneurial growth after independence has witnessed great economic, social and political changes in India. These changes led to remarkable changes in entrepreneurship. In this era, several new communities not known for mercantile background started entrepreneurial activities. In 5-year planning system, there has been a mushroom growth of entrepreneurship in the country. Private entrepreneurship established industries in diverse fields, both capital and consumer goods industries. Since the adoption of first plan, indigenous organization for design, construction and engineering of projects has been developed. India has successfully completed major projects abroad in the face of international competition. Industrial houses have started research and development in various fields on a considerable scale. With the entry of young and highly educated people in industry, the face of entrepreneurship totally changed. Government policies regarding import substitution, export promotion and foreign collaborations have led to rapid industrial growth in India. A noteworthy feature of entrepreneurial growth under planning has been the emergence of small entrepreneurs in different parts of the country. Technicians, rural artisans, engineers, etc. became entrepreneurs. Many institutions set up to provide all type assistance to small entrepreneurs. In fact, small industry has become a movement in India. It has created a healthy environment for the growth of entrepreneurship. In 1991, the Government of India announced its policy toward the small-scale sector. There has been a remarkable spurt in entrepreneurship in India due to economic reforms. Sri N.R. Narayana Murthy raised the hopes of the middleman class when entrepreneurship in this country was meant to be in heritage. Today, he is an example of how people can build an empire from scratch with no ancestral business behind them. Sunil Mittal, Anand Mahindra, Shehnaz Hussain, J.L. Oswal, Godrej, Tata, Birla and many more are the names which entirely changed the face of Indian entrepreneurship. Some of the biggest companies today, Airtel, Future Group, Jet Airways and G Television didn't exist 2 decades ago. Many like Wipro and Infosys went public only after 1991. Today, several Indian industries are global benchmark even in emerging sectors such as information technology, telecom and outsourcing. Within 20 years, India has produced more than 2 lakh millionaires and large number of billionaires. Before independence, the supply of domestic entrepreneurship basically came from selected communities that are Parsis, Gujaratis and Manipur Parsis. They had merchant houses at Bombay and Surat for overseas trade and for the European traders. They acted as brokers. By the middle of the 19th century. They has emerged as a dominant trading and financing communities of Bombay and Gujarat. They play an important role in the development of cotton, textile and steel industries in India. In Ahmedabad, Gujarati trading community played a very major role in establishing textile industry. In the northern part of country, Hindu and Muslim traders played a significant role in the growth of entrepreneurship. The entrepreneurial growth in India is as old as Rig Veda, when metal handicrafts existed in the society. In eastern part of the country, especially Calcutta, Marwadi businessmen established industries. In eastern part of country, especially Calcutta, Marwadi businessmen established industries. The Marwadi community and other traditionally entrepreneurial communities dominated the entrepreneurial scene before independence. In South India, Chedis were the main trading community. They acquired interest in banking by establishing contracts with reputed Indian business houses. Syrian Christians called Najrani, Mapilas and Mohammedan merchants known as Mopla were important trader classes on the west coast in south. Khatris, Bhatiyas and Lohyanas were important enterprises in Punjab and Brahmans in Maharashtra. In his book, Entrepreneurship, Concept, Nature and Need, M.P. Akhoury states that entrepreneurship is the result of four dominant factors: the socio-economic system, the sports system, the resource system and self-sphere system. These four systems are interrelated, interacting and constantly adjusted with each other. Planned efforts to develop entrepreneurs, therefore, require integrated efforts covering all the four systems. An attempt to effect change in one system, neglecting other, is bound to fail, and the overall objective to develop entrepreneurship will not achieve. 10 entrepreneurs who changed the face of corporate India. These are Kawasji Nanabal Dawar, Sir Jamset Nisarwanji Tata, V.O. Chidambaram Pillai, Rai Bahadur Mohan Singh Oberoi, Henning Hoek Larsen, Dr. Varghese Kurian, Karsana Bhai Khodidas Patel, Aditya Vikram Y. Birla, Dhirubhai Ambani and N.R. Narayana Murthy. Kawasji Nanabal Dawar, the inspiration to invest. Dawar inaugurated India's Industrial Revolution. In 1854, he set up India's first steam-powered textile mill in Bombay. Capitalized at Rs 5 lakh, the Bombay Spinning and Weaving Company paid a 10% dividend for 6 years state. Dawar set the stage for the society for the safety of industrial capital in India. Galvanized by his example, others too made industrial investments, among them the Woods and the Tatas. Now, I am going to talk about the faces who changed the face of corporate India. First of all, I am talking about Sir Jasmine Nusarwanji Tata, the father of Indian Industrial Revolution. Tata was the first Indian to understand the significance of Industrial Revolution. At his Swadeshi mill, he instituted pension funds and accident compensations. He believed that India's progress hinged around steel, hydroelectric power and technical education. He inspired creation of Indian Institute of Science, formerly Tata Institute in Bangalore. In 1900, when he was 60, he set up Jamshedpur Steel Work after learning steel making in Europe. Rai Bahadur Mohan Singh Oberoi, the Brown Sahib's opportunity. In 1934, Oberoi mortgaged his wife's jewel while scratching together rupees 20,000 to buy his British partner's stake in the Clark's Hotel, Simla. He put in money while the Britishers pulled their out, and a decade later, he was the first Indian to run a hotel chain. In 1965, he opened the first 5-star international hotel in India in Delhi. 34 hotels in 7 countries later, Oberoi's was the first real Indian multinational. Henning Hoek Larsen, the Den who never went home. One of the small flock of Europeans who refused to quit India, Larsen and his partner Soren K. Tabro. Both came here to set up a cement plant for a British employer. Set up a company in 1938 that became India's preeminent engineering giant. Larsen knew independent India offered much scope for his company and his skill. Worth rupees 5,400 crores today, Larsen's push to manufacture it in India sparked off an engineering boom that has not quit. From nuclear plants to new necessaries, Larsen's stamps on India is indelible. Dr. Verghese Kurian, father of the unlikely entrepreneur. Dr. Kurian created Operation Flood, the largest dairy development programs in the world. He made India the world's largest milk producer, but most importantly, he put economic power in the hands of the producers, all 10 million families at last count. The Kyara District Cooperative Milk Producers Union, or AMUL, as India knows the giant, is modern and fleet enough to lord it over an array of multinational competitors. Humble farmers and cohorts, they all have a stake in one of the world's best dairy operations. Karsanbhai Khodidas Patel, the power of the grassroots. Patel knew no marketing, had no management qualification, and no collaborator, Indian or foreign, when he created the first Indian brand to humble the best multinationals. The saga of this Gujarat government chemist began with a 12-yard shed in his backyard in 1969, worth rupees 2,440 crores today. Nirma's cut-piece detergent shook the likes of Lever Patel, who speaks little English, inspired legions of Davids to do entrepreneurial battle with India's corporate Goliaths. Aditya Vikram Y. Birla, the first mogul of globalization. When MIT graduate Aditya Vikram Birla returned to India to be a part of his grandfather's G.D. Birla's sprawling empire in the 1960s, he could have gone with the flow, but when it took Indian bureaucrats 11 years to clear a refinery project, Birla did not believe it worth his while to work the lessons Raj. Instead, long before globalization became a buzzword, he spread outward, setting up a textile mill in Thailand, later the world's largest palm oil refinery in Malaysia. When he died in 1995, his group had 17 companies in 14 countries. Second name in this context is V.O. Chidambaram Pillai, the steamship that cried freedom. Pillai was a nationalist who entered business to prove a point as much as to make profits. His Swadeshi team, Navigation Company Limited, broke the monopolies of British company in coastal trade with Ceylon. VOC, as he was popularly called, was a radical congressman who was arrested in March 1908 on charge of section. He was finally released on 1912. Pillai inspired an entire generation of conservative Southrons to plunge into business. Next name in this category is Dhirubhai Ambani, the saga of New India. Truly, an entrepreneur for the tumultuous New India. Poor son of Gujarat village school teacher reached Aden at the age of 17 and worked as petrol station attendant, mixing grand opportunism with extreme guile. He clambered his way up, manipulating the licence Raj to his advantage. He created an equity cult by going to millions of small investors when the big bankers refused him money. He adapted as easily to liberalization at rupees 60,000 crore. There's quite simply nothing larger than Reliance in India today. N.R. Narayana Murthy, Masiha of the new middle class. How many companies have 1,388 employees that are rupee millionaire and 72 are the dollar millionaires, including drivers and peons? Murthy's miracle is not just that. He and 7 professionals built a tech powerhouse from rupees 10,000 as initial investment in 1981. He did it with middle class values, hard work, humility, honesty, and innovation, and inspired uncountable thousands on the good way to make money. And as the thousand clamoring to get into Enphysys indicate, there is no better employer around. So students, let's now summarize what we have learned in this module. In ancient times, India was a self-sufficient rural economy. Agriculture was the main source of livelihood. There existed a well-organized and well-developed rural industry consisting of handicrafts, marble work, and metal work. But it could not grow due to various reasons like lack of capital, network of custom barrier, existence of multiple systems of currency, and political unrest. The Swadeshi movement of 1905 stimulated Indian entrepreneurship in shipping, iron and steel, and other industries. In 1911, J.R.D. Tata established his steel unit in Jamshedpur, but the true industrial development took place after independence. This has been possible due to development of industrial infrastructure, growth of public sector, import substitution, and export promotion policies of the government. Foreign collaboration, expansion of technical and other education, increasing status of businessmen, and various other activities. Thank you.